As Robin mentioned, I am the co-chair of the Okel Palestinian Rights Association. We are a small group of committed individuals who are all seeking to advocate for Palestinian rights. And specifically, now we look at how to not only increase the information and awareness of Palestinian culture and history, but we found a little sweet spot with politicians when we spoke of the treatment of children and the illegal detention of children within the Israeli military. So I guess I could just start briefly by saying a little bit about myself, as I'm quite new to the advocacy in this realm. As a Palestinian, it is hard, it is difficult, it's scary. Now being associated with an organization that was labeled as a terrorist organization, I'm unsure of whether I can go home and see my family. So I really do encourage you, hopefully as Canadians or other nationalities, to really use your voices, because we are being censored more than ever, and we are being watched more than ever. So we need more people speaking on our behalf and acknowledging that there is something going on. There is apartheid happening. There is the worst treatment of children happening daily. And if it's only Palestinians who are speaking up against it, it's not going to work. It's not going to change anything. So as a Palestinian, seeing what happens and seeing how other Palestinians are afraid to speak up because of the risks associated with speaking up against it, we really do rely on other people in our communities to empathize and to take the effort into signing the petition, speaking with your politicians, boycotting Israeli products, learning about us, learning about our culture, learning about our heritage so that it doesn't get erased. I know it was mentioned before of the treatment and the systemic racism and the planned out tactics that are happening. What wasn't mentioned is how these tactics are simply erasing us, erasing our language from the signs in the street, erasing our food and calling them Israeli food, erasing our clothing and taking our symbolism of freedom and using it as fashion symbols now. This is no longer simply something that Palestinians need to fight for. This is something that everyone needs to fight for, because it's not just the solidarity with those in Palestine, it is also the solidarity with those here in Canada who are fighting the exact same effects of settlers and colonization. That being said, as we started in this journey, as I mentioned, I've only been in this field for about 2 years now, maybe 3, because I didn't know. I was born here in Canada. I never saw a Palestinian flag in my classroom. Anytime someone asked me where I was from and I said Palestine, they would simply respond with, "Where is that?" Or, "Oh, you mean Pakistan?" No. No one knows. Well, maybe now more people know. But growing up, that was really hard. I didn't know how to associate with being Palestinian. Flying back home to see my grandma, I was using an Israeli passport to fly to Israel to go to a community that only spoke Arabic outside of Palestine, within Israel. So it was very confusing for me and my family, and I'm sure other people who are in my situation, to understand what was happening and where we belong. It took me quite a while to acknowledge the racism. It took me quite a while to acknowledge what was happening and to even skim the surface of the politics. But now that I am here, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to back down. And it's been scary. It's been intimidating. It's been threatening to my own ability to go back home, to see my grandma, to see my family, to be on my soil. We started very simply by just messaging Pam DeMoss, a liberal MP from North Burlington. I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought, hey, I'm going to message her and see what happens. I messaged her, got a response to get a meeting with her, invited my co-chair, Mervyn Russell, as well as Shayna, who is from DCIP. We had hosted a webinar that spoke of the illegal treatment of Palestinian children within the Israeli military. And we had invited her, but she did not show up. We had invited a lot of politicians, but they did not show up. So we sent them the recordings, we sent them the resources, we sent them everything we covered, and we booked a meeting with them. Throughout this meeting, Pam DeMoss sympathized with us. And again, I told you, we found the nugget of using children to get into the soft spot of these politicians' hearts because nobody could justify torturing children. Pam DeMoss led us to working on a brief to submit to the Subcommittee of International Human Rights within Parliament. With the most gracious support of DCIP and their team, they put together a brief, they had endorsements from other organizations, and we were able to submit that. Unfortunately, if you are aware of the systems in Parliament, there was a notable Zionist within the Subcommittee of Human Rights. And their response to us was that,
Yeah.
Urban Cotton.
sorry?
They were saying the name of the envoy, Irving Cutler.
I didn't know whether we were allowed to name names.
We all know.
We all know.
So they came back to us saying that their agenda was full for the year. This was before the election. We resubmitted in February, and I'm sure Zaina will mention more about this brief, or we'll talk a little bit more about the work that is to be done. Simply put, this brief was put together, and it is valuable information that absolutely every single politician should have in their hands, and absolutely every single politician should be held accountable to read it, to look into it, to look at the resources that were associated with it, to look at the new reports from Amnesty, from the UN, from Beit-Salim, from all of these organizations that are labeling Israel as an apartheid state. We need to have these politicians on board, and we have to hound them down. Now again, they don't want to hear from me. I've already contacted them more than enough time. We need now for more and more people to raise their voices about this issue. I don't really know what can happen, but I already hear people visualizing a free Palestine. There has been such momentum. There has been such more awareness. There has been more consideration as to what is actually happening. And if Canada can get off of its high horse and take accountability for the Indigenous population here, they can also stand up and support ending occupations abroad and ending their involvement in war crimes and ending their support of the banks who are financing these war crimes. Not only am I asking you to call your politicians, but look at your banks. Where is your money going? Are you investing in RBC? Are you investing in the top 5 banks? Because let me tell you, you're not only ruining the lives of Palestinians, you're also ruining communities here in Canada. So I'm encouraging you to vote with your dollar every day, because that money is ending up in places that is harming people all around the world. And it's much bigger than just Palestine. It's becoming a system of colonization. It's everywhere, but Palestine is getting a really bad section of it too. I'm going to go off on a tangent now, and I don't know how much time I have left, but it's a little different speaking over Zoom. It's, you know, I can't really get the cues of if anyone's bored or not.
We're not.
I've said too much. But I do know that Dana is going to be speaking after me, and I do hope that you can follow the work that DCIC does, and you can follow the work of No Way to Treat a Child, and you can follow up with your politicians. You can follow up with your bank. You can follow up with anybody who is investing large sums of money into technology and surveillance and to illegal occupations, illegal operations on occupied land. I know that it is intimidating, and I know that it can be difficult when you're not fully versed or you don't understand the politics, or you have the opposing side saying, what about Hamas? It's not about that. It is about the rights of children. It's about the rights of a community. It's about the rights of an identity and a culture to not be erased from this land. I look for your support. I look forward to speaking with any of you if you're interested. I'm sure they can pass along my information if you'd like to get involved. We do monthly meetings online via Zoom to talk about the initiatives we're working on. I am taking a little bit of a step back from contacting politicians and focusing on expressing our culture and our traditions, because I believe that a lot of the youth here are not exposed to it, and I would like to be surrounded by that. It's been a long time since I've been able to go back home, and so I would like to focus a little bit more on preserving our culture and sharing our culture. So I do encourage you, if you are interested in any of our events, to keep in touch. Now I've definitely gone over my 10 minutes, so I will pass the mic over to Robin to introduce the next speaker. But I am very grateful for your time, and I hope if something resonated with you, you can keep us in your heart and acknowledge the work that you're doing is truly appreciated. So, thank you.